My name is Taryn Turner, and for my project, I have chosen to discuss the eccentric series of murals entitled Universal Inquiry by local artist Matt Miller. The mural, designed in 2011, spans 88 feet long and 352 square feet and is located below the Town Center Plaza across the parking deck utilized by several businesses in downtown Fayetteville. Miller himself is a native of Jonesboro, Arkansas, who graduated from the University of Arkansas in 2007 with a BSBA with an emphasis in finance. His work has been featured in collections throughout Arkansas and the Midwest, as well as in cities like San Diego, New York City, and Portland. Growing up, he was able to find his voice through his artwork and gathered inspiration from his experiences living in South America and his travels to Africa and Colombia. He is known for working primarily in acrylic, applying thick textures and bold colors, and he often spreads his work over large canvases or murals for greater interaction with the piece. He describes this piece as one drawn from all of the music, cultures, literature, architecture, and people who have inspired him, and says it is kind of like a collage of everything in life he has picked up along the way. The work is a varied composition, featuring several overlapping and repeated patterns that create a dynamic condition that still manages to remain balanced and harmonious, despite the seemingly chaotic range of colors and shapes. It lies in a horizontal plane and is layered with both symmetric and asymmetric elements in equilibrium. Miller uses a variety of vertical, horizontal, spiral, and converging lines, as well as an abundance of delicate curvilinear outlines that bound the various colorful shapes that make up the work and create a sense of fluid movement. In several parts of the mural, Miller creates an illusion of depth through his use of overlapping elements that often have converging parts, meeting at a perceived vanishing point. Perhaps the most obvious characteristic of the mural is its abundance of both geometric and more abstract bimorphic shapes. Miller effectively integrates fluid, organic shapes that create a sense of movement and flexibility with more rigid, symmetrical shapes that function together to produce a balanced result. These shapes exist in patterns that have multiple levels of organization. As a result, each time the viewer examines the mural, a different layer of the painting may be more visible to them, depending on where they focus their attention. It also features faceless, black, white, and colored silhouettes of human figures that exist in contrast to the geometric shapes. Another striking characteristic is Miller's use of brilliant hues of color. The acrylic paint is applied thickly and boldly so as to create more intense hues. It primarily features pinks, oranges, and reds, juxtaposed with cooler blues, greens, and teals, but there are also a variety of natural tones, all laid on a white background and bounded by textured edges to create contrast. This mural lends itself to be analyzed through an autobiographical approach, as Miller claims that his intention for the project was to serve as a representation of his own questions about life through a collage of images that represent what is important to him and what inspires him. Therefore, Miller's life serves as the underlying text for this work. The figures of people always appear as shadows with no facial or defining features. This may represent the types of people Miller has met in his own life, but also allows for the audience to interpret them as whomever they want them to be, as the mural is meant to be universally relatable. A recurring element is the textured spiral that Miller claims to act as the DNA within his work. It acts as a constant reminder to live spherically, meaning to live in the present and to continue growing and building the future. The mural is a personal artifact Miller has chosen to share in hopes of relating his own inspirations to other people. It is difficult to classify this mural as one particular style of art, as it features a wide array of differing elements that appear to draw on various influences. It may be best described as abstract expressionism, a school that often depicts dreamlike images, examines the effect of the unconscious on creativity, and stresses the expressive qualities of paint. However, it is more controlled in its execution, evoking a more meditative spiritual effect that is associated with the color field painting method or chromatic abstraction, where acrylic paint became one of the modern synthetic media used to apply color to an expansive, flat surface. The mural could also be considered an example of environmental art placed in an urban setting, as it is imagery derived from graffiti. It also draws influence from older art traditions like Fauvism in the early 20th century. This style was characterized by vivid, bold colors that seem to burst from the canvas, and dynamic patterns formed from curious but balanced color combinations. There is beauty and implicit meaning in Miller's chosen arrangement of colors, shapes, and figures in the mural. This contributes to its ability to be interpreted in innumerable ways and creates its mesmerizing quality that draws the eye to all of its component parts without seeming overly distracting or chaotic. Most of the figures appear to be displaying contrapposto, as they are engaged in fluid motions and actions despite their abstract context. Much like the early Romanesque murals that were designed for churches and chapels, this work serves an aesthetic and educational function. For centuries, using the walls of public buildings as canvases for expression has been a universally appreciated method of making the places one encounters daily both functional and beautiful. I chose this piece because I find it to be intriguing as well as stunning. Its composition suggests the confusion, beauty, and mystery of life. I believe that this mural is a means of improving the aesthetics of our downtown area. Miller's use of color, line, and shape emphasizes the indefinite, unlimited nature of our existence and allows for the audience to explore this universal inquiry about life that we all share.